Welcome to the Aligned Powerhouse, the podcast for executive women who are done leading from burnout and ready to rise from alignment. I'm your host, Dr. Brittany McGeehan, licensed psychologist, high performance and mindset coach, and guide for high achieving women who are ready to lead, live, and love without abandoning themselves. Here, we unpack the nervous system truths, mindset shifts, and emotional patterns that drive your leadership so you can build power from the inside out. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome to today's episode. Oh my gosh. Okay, I am so excited for today's conversation. Today's conversation is with Kelly Hubbell. And let me just tell you that if you are someone who over-identifies as being the one who does it all, if you are really a human being, I want to say mother, but like if you are a human being who always feels like you never make it through your to-do list and possibly that your home life suffers as a result of this, and or you are potentially raising humans, like if you are the woman who is responsible for continuing to keep the house running, this conversation is for you. And oh my Lanta, I want you to listen to the piece at the end. And there is, at the very end of our conversation, Kelly paints a picture of what it is to have house management. And that is what we're talking about today. And I just want you to come and dream with me in this conversation. It was such a phenomenal conversation. I am thrilled to be bringing this to my audience. So let me tell you a little bit about Kelly. Kelly is a working mom of three and a founder of Sage House, a platform that she created to help overwhelmed parents reclaim their time by outsourcing the mental load of running a household. After trying to do it all herself, Kelly realized the power of building efficient home systems. Y'all know we love a good system over here, and finding the right support. And now she helps others to do the same by sharing practical strategies for streamlining daily life. And let me just tell you, okay, so my perception, my experience, you guys know that I live and breathe by building a village of support around you. And that is exactly what she does. Literally, house management, when it is done well, truly, it is like hiring a nervous system and an operations manager for your home. I cannot speak highly enough about the conversation that I was able to have with Kelly and the value that it is about to deliver to you and your family, but also your children. Because what I know about my audience is that we are a community of women who are dedicated to accelerating our growth, accelerating our healing, but not doing it at the cost of burnout or we want it all, right? And Kelly's company not only is a cohesive ecosystem that lives out the values that they are helping other families to bring into their lives, but it is the white glove service for if you are looking for this kind of support, because anyone who's listening to this knows hiring takes effort, it takes work, it takes time. Kelly's company is the white glove concierge experience of getting to bring in a home manager. I'm so excited to bring this conversation to y'all. So without further ado, let's get into the conversation.
Okay, well, you just did a great job, Brittany, of introducing me. So thank you so much for that. I'm Kelly Hubbell. I'm the founder of Sage House. I'm just really excited to be here with you to dispel all of the myths around doing it all and how having more support in your home and building your village is out of reach. Speaking to the growth of the business here at Sage House, really the growth of this new category in and itself of finding more holistic, versatile support for families. And I'm here for it. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about where this vision, how did this company come to be, your vision, all the things?
Yeah, well, it came about very organically. I did not intend to really start this. The way that it came about was through my own experience as a very overwhelmed, busy mom of three. So I've got a 7, 5, and 3-year old. And for me, it was after I had my second that the wheels were falling off the bus in my home. I was unable to keep up with basically like the demands of running my household, in addition to working full time. And I was in a corporate job in software sales. I traveled a lot for work. My husband was traveling a lot for work. He's an entrepreneur. Um, and we needed more support, but I couldn't really put my finger on it at the time of like what kind of support do we need, because my kids were in preschool. Like we had daycare figured out, right? We had like childcare figured out so we could work our 9 to 5. We had invested already in cleaners to, help us keep our home tidy and in order a couple times a month. But when I really thought about why do I still feel so overwhelmed? Why is the mental load and why is this invisible labor like so heavy? I realized it was because there were so many other things aside from just childcare and just cleaning that I needed support with. It was the grocery shopping and the meal prepping and the laundry and the Amazon returns and making sure my dog got enough exercise and picking up the prescriptions and the birthday party gifts for this coming weekend. All of that stuff that I was like cramming into my nights and weekends and days. And I was like, I just need another set of hands. I need another me. Like I need a clone so that, and I want to dispel this. I'm sure some people are thinking as they're listening to me say this, like, well, why were you carrying all of that? Like, where was your partner? What were they doing? My partner was helping. Like my partner was, I won't say that it was 50-50 because that's just not the way it's split in my home. And that's super honest. But we were both doing as much as we possibly could. And my whole hypothesis is even when you've got two highly executive functioning partners in a household, there just still aren't enough hours in the day to get it all done. So anyway, my long story short is I was overwhelmed. I needed more help. I ended up finding what I called a house manager. I didn't know what to call it. This was again like 4.5 years ago. And finding her changed my life. It literally, we started small, 10 to 12 hours a week. She started taking more and more things off of my plate. I never had to worry about, do we have enough bananas and eggs and milk and bread ever again. I never had to worry if the car was gassed up, like all of the things that I was holding in my brain. And I was finally able to be a more present human being in my work, with my kids, with my husband. And I just started telling other women in my network and friends and colleagues, anybody who would listen. I wanted to shout from the mountaintops, like, I found a solution to the mental load in my home. And I really want to share it with anyone who's willing to listen. And then that turned into me providing resources and telling other women like my process for how I found my house manager. And they came back to me and said, I love this. This is awesome. But I actually don't have 5 months and 100 hours laying around to find my house manager, my unicorn modern Mary Poppins. Kelly, can you just find them for me? And then that's what really started what we do at Sage House today, which is we now work with about 45 families a month all over the US and Canada to find perfect match house managers for busy, overwhelmed families, households, executives who travel, like lots of different types of people who need this kind of support.
Oh my gosh, my brain goes in like 50 different directions. I love it. I love the point. And you make this a lot on your social media of, it's not that your husband is not helping or your partner is not helping. Even with 2 active participants running a home, it's a ton of hours and labor. And it makes me think about the dynamic that brings into a marriage. I know that is certainly how we felt whenever we found our support system of like, oh my gosh, I actually like you even more than I realized. And we had both been putting into this. It's just a never ending task. We are meant to be in a village, and that's simply not the way that our society is currently set up to be running things. And I love the process, right? Because I've heard that as well from other people, that it takes so much work to find the right person. That's a whole process. That was a process for us. Like I
So
think it was
much
our
work.
third house manager before we found someone who we were like, this is the right fit. And to your point, it took so much time. Can you speak a little bit more to that process?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think it's just so interesting. I often make this correlation between how we are so good at creating systems and processes, and you use the word SOPs in our work and in our career, but we're not as good for some reason at running those same systems and processes in our home when it comes to hiring too. Like, I think we think, oh, I got this. Like, I can just hire somebody. I'll jump on care.com, I'll cruise around, I'll see who's there, and like set up some calls. That's not actually how it works. Like, I would love if that's just how it works and but it's just not that easy. Finding the right fit for your family is such a personal decision. There's so much that goes into it. The roles, the responsibilities, the experience, the skills, the characteristics and personality traits of somebody that you're looking for in your home. So if you can like really treat this as like the most essentially, your home is your foundation.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here just for a second. If this episode is resonating a little hard, I want you to know that if you are a high performing woman who knows exactly what to do, you know what behaviors are going to take you to the next level, but you're not executing at the level that you should be for the woman that you are, I want you to know this is not a strategy problem. This is a nervous system capacity issue, and it is costing you time, energy, and momentum. The retreat that I lead, the Elevated Leader, is designed to change that fast. Like, we are talking 3 days fast. We don't sit around and talk about your goals. We identify what is actually interfering with execution, and we rewire it real time so that by the end of the weekend, you are leaving with clarity, self-trust, and the ability to move quickly, cleanly, and consistently without the self-doubt and anxiety. This is a small, bespoke, high-touch experience. Every team is created specifically for the women that are invited into each weekend, and therefore only a few women are invited in per cohort. If you are ready to stop circling the same patterns and actually take steps to move forward, I want you to join the waitlist. Link is in the show notes. All right, now let's get back to the show.
Your support system in your home and your foundation like is going to make or break everything else in your life. And investing in making sure it's the right person can either look like you on care.com on 10 to 12 different platforms, looking it through resumes, vetting candidates, screening applicants, taking them through an interview process based on what your family's looking for. Like, that is in and in itself is a full-time job, and like, you need a dedicated resource to do that. The other thing that we've learned, right, is really good candidates go fast. Like, really good people who are out there and who are awesome at this role, like, they get scooped up by a family. And so you need a dedicated resource to really be on top of finding the right perfect match for your family. And so that's literally what we do. Like, that is part of our value proposition, is we take all of that off your plate, because I can't tell you how many families I've talked to who are like, I have already spent 50 hours on Sitter City, Nanny Lane, like all of these sort of like platforms. And they're like, I'm getting ghosted. I set up 3 interviews, only one person showed up. Like, I'm not just going to go with the one person who showed up, you know? So,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's what we do here. That's what we're really good at doing.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. And so in my ecosystem, in my community, we talk so much about the parallel process, and how the energy that you are bringing into yourself personally is such a reflection of what you're going to see at work. And I think so many times it's easier to focus on revenue. It's easier to focus on whatever it is that's happening externally. And it's like there's this entire exhale that is waiting for you if you can just actually go in and shift those things. And I love that your company is like, yes, and we can do it for you, and we can make sure that it is the right fit for you. I think that is absolutely phenomenal, which then that brings my brain to the next question, which is, when I talk with other people, there's this association that this type of support, one, isn't real. It doesn't
Hmm.
really exist. Or two, it's for the Kardashians of the world. It is for the whoever, right? Can you speak a little bit to that, as well as like, what do you think the actual block is there for people?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, a couple things. One, I mean, the first one that you mentioned, I think there's a lot of blockers for people. One is they really think like this doesn't exist. That was me. I thought to myself, I don't really know if this exists. And I'm telling you it exists because I found it. We've worked with hundreds of families and we have found it. And a lot of it is about, and not just manifesting this person for your family, but knowing that there are wonderful caregivers, professionals out there who want this job, who want to work with a family, who love taking on more responsibilities outside of maybe their background is in nannying or childcare or an au pair or something, but they actually want more versatile roles and responsibilities, and they want to take on more, and they want to be more at that intersection of personal assistant, executive assistant, house manager, and that's really unique. And so I'll just say they exist, they're out there. This is what our team does. And then the second one, which is much more interesting, is wait, what do you mean? Like, I think when I first started telling people I have a house manager, they looked at me like, is this woman in nuts? Like, who does she think she is? And I think that it's so funny because we're so comfortable in our culture with other ways of I don't like to use the word like outsourcing, but other ways of like
Mm.
building our village and like building support systems around us. So like we're really comfortable with like a nanny. We're really comfortable with like an au pair. We're super comfortable with like hiring cleaners. Like, and I always equate this to can you imagine how our maybe grandparents are like in the 40s and 50s, if you had a house cleaner, what your neighbors probably said about you, like, can you believe Martha has a house cleaner? She's just not doing it all on her own, right? It's like, to
Hmm.
me, I feel like we're back in that right now. We're like, we're getting like feeling shame and guilt um, around having that support, even though it's accessible to us. And the accessibility part and like the financial part of it is so much more affordable, accessible, approachable than people think. Like, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that just must be for like the rich and famous and celebs who can afford that. No, it's not. I'm here to say that we're finding house managers typically around the same rates of nannies in an area. And so you can like kind of just throw out the door right now.
I am going to scooch in here just for a quick second. If you are a woman who is already doing the work, but you know that there is another level of peace, clarity, revenue that you haven't accessed yet, this is for you. Most high performing women do not have a capability or a skill set problem. They are simply focusing their energy in the wrong place at the wrong time. The capacity index quiz shows you the one lever that will create immediate traction with where you are at today. In just 2 minutes, you will know exactly where to focus so that you can move faster, lead cleaner, and stop wasting energy. Take the quiz. Link is in the show notes.
Yes, this concept of like having support in your home and paying for it is a budget line item for sure. It's a budgetary line item. And that's a really personal decision for people. We all make financial decisions every day. My family made the financial decision to keep driving our 2016 Subaru Forester
Yeah.
instead of leasing a brand new car because we'd rather spend that money on the support in our home.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, that's just the financial that makes sense. And so I think it's such a personal decision, but I think too many people are very quick to rule it out before they consider it and before they kind of like talk about the trade-offs, the trade-offs in your mental health, the trade-offs in your physical health, the trade-offs in your relationships, your ability to be present with your kids, with your partner, all of those things, and like the value of your time. It really comes back to how do you value your time and what is that worth to you? And can you like financially budget for that? So,
Mm. I love that. I love that so much. We had a very similar experience whenever we shared this is what we're doing. It was like, what do you mean? And very much our perspective on it was, we're going to run this car into the ground, and that's going to be just fine. But that we are paying for the intentionality, we're paying for the time, we are paying for the value alignment in our personal lives. I love that. I think numbers are usually, they're more flexible than we realize they are. So, okay, that being said, I talk a lot about the rescuer reflex and like a sense of identity. Like the word identity is popping around in my head as I'm listening to you. And I'm so curious, and you may not have those conversations, but how do you see that playing a role in here too? Specifically for mothers is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
But
right. That's kind of what I was assuming. Yeah, this identity shift is happening. It's happening right before our eyes. We are seeing women finally saying, actually, I don't want to do it all. I don't want to be a super mom.
yeah.
Out with the super mom, like I actually know that it's much more healthy for me and for my family to not do it all. Um, and we're not there yet, but we're on our way there. And
Mm,
I am finally seeing that. I mean, a big part of my why and why I do what I do is because when I was sort of at that breaking point, if you will, of we've had our second, like I can't hold it together. I realized like I was really at a fork in the road where I was like, I can see this path and where it's taking me. If I'm going to be the one doing everything, making sure, that we're having home cooked meals, that the house is organized and tidy, and like if I am the one doing all of this, I don't like where that leads because that I am
mm,
going to burn myself out. And like I saw my mom do that. And that's what we have been,
mm,
you know, uh we have had been modeled for us in our society, in our culture, is we have seen this model of our moms who were do-it-allers, who were
mm,
told,
mm,
you can have it all and do it all. You can work and be a mom. You can have all of these things. And this narrative has done nothing but it be detrimental to us. And so, and I watched my mom, who's a single mom of 4 kids, literally work, sleep only 4 hours a night. She was working, she was being our mom, she was running us around to activities like, and she ultimately developed an autoimmune condition. She passed away really, really early. And like, I just can't,
mm,
you know, it's from where I'm sitting now that I am a mom, I can really say, wow, like we we can't, it's okay to not do it all. Like it is better
mm.
for everybody to not do it all. And so how do we start to let that go? Um, and it's easier said than done, right? It's because we have been, I mean, this has been drilled into us from when we were little girls to teenagers to college to you can do it all. You can only take two couple days of maternity leave and come right back to work. Like,
Mhm.
so here to change that narrative for sure. And I see it. I see it happening and I'm really excited about it, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, so okay, and that prompts another question, right? I'm so curious what this process was like for you and your family bringing in this support, and how you possibly see this playing out with other families. Meaning, when I have conversations with my clients about what does building your team, stacking your team look like, who are we adding in, a lot of times what they will say is, and I can like hear some of my viewers like possibly having this response of like, my husband is never going to go for that. My husband is never going to go for that. So I'm curious, and possibly by the time they make it to you, everyone is on board. Is that usually the case? Like, what have you seen with
Yeah,
that?
that's a blocker for sure. We actually have just rolled out like a new sort of like one pager because we've had so many women who will come to us. They'll attend our informational calls, and the last final piece of their puzzle is convincing their partner. I'm putting that in air quotes. Convincing their partner. How do I convince my partner that we need this? And what it comes down to is making the invisible visible to them and really helping them understand because from their perspective they just see that everything's working, like the dishwasher is unloaded, there's food on the table, the kids have clean soccer jerseys for the weekend, like they just see many times partners are like, oh well, everything seems fine, so like why would we need extra support? What they don't see is all of the invisible labor and energy and that is going into keeping the household going. And so part of that is like making it really visible to them. Like, here's everything that's going into making sure we have food on the table, making sure that box of Amazon returns goes back to Whole Foods, like all of those things. Um, and getting them to also invest in like what are some things they would like off of their plate? Like what are some of the things that they're doing that they would like off of their plate? And then really it comes down to like presence, like, hey, yeah, we could keep going, but what does that mean for us? Like I could keep going, but I'm not getting enough sleep and I'm not taking care of myself and you and I don't have time to connect anymore. And like all of the things, it's like the opportunity cost, thinking through that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity cost. And then again, I have also seen so many partners jump on the informational call that I run multiple times a week with their partner because they're on
Mm-hmm.
board. They're like, yeah. Or they'll jump on without their partner. I've seen so many men jumping on my call to say, hey, my wife needs help and she won't ask for it. So I'm here to try to find more help for her. And that is like so awesome to
Yeah.
see that. So we are seeing more and more of that.
That's incredibly exciting. Wow. Okay. So now I have a question in a little bit of a different direction, kind of. Again, I love your company. I love the content that y'all put out, all of it. And so speaking from someone who has joined one of your informational calls, and I like to think that I am good with systems. Like systems make me feel safe. I love me
Huh?
a good rule. But
Hmm.
my version of a system for our house is from ChatGPT. So we have a little
Hmm.
binder and we go through things. I was like blown away. But when you started going item by item through everything, I was like, because I think we are in the age of AI right now, and it's the robots can do these. And I love me the robots, they do some things,
Hmm.
but the detail that has gone into the system that you are teaching house managers, families, all these different things, it was insane. Things that I had no idea were being stored in my head, in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, that does need to happen. The Christmas tree does need to get put up.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, it makes me think about, so I talk a lot about the parallel process, and the more you get your home in order, the quicker the business grows, whatever. And I've watched your company build, right? And I am so curious what that has been, especially hearing that you started from a place of burnout. And that's really what has prompted this. You got this support. We've built the company from there. What has that been like on the personal end? Because at least from the outside looking at, y'all have built very, very quickly.
Yeah, we've grown really, really quickly. Well, I mean, I'll start by saying that none of this would have ever been possible without my support. So I absolutely agree with what you preach, which is like, yeah, you've got to get your foundations in place in order to do anything else. Um, when I launched Sage House, I was still in my corporate job. And honestly, I was on maternity leave with my third when I started, just like I put the website up. I was trying to just get the information out there to other moms who kept asking me, hey, I need a house manager. How did you find them? So all of that to say, like, there's just no way that I could have even like launched an idea with while working a full-time job when I was back from my maternity leave, especially without the support at home. So like that allowed me to do that. Uh, and I mean, we've grown so fast. So I left my corporate job a little less than 2 years ago. Um, about a year ago, and I'm not sure when this will air, but about a year ago in the beginning of 2025, it was just me and my social media manager. And I was the one taking on about 3 to 4 clients a month to help them find a house manager. And then what happened was more people heard about us. We kept getting more referrals. I was doing a bunch of one-on-one calls. I turned them into these group informational calls. Was really the only way that I could get this information out to people. And then we had to continue hiring on our team to find the house manager and like make the matches, right? Because it was like beyond my ability to make all those matches. And so yeah, I hired my first hiring services specialist in March of last year, and then I hired a chief of staff in April. And since then, we've grown. We're now a team of 34 people. So over the last 10 months, we've grown to a team of 34. Um, from a personal standpoint, it's been wild. Like it's been so fun. I am so
Yeah.
energized by the work that we're doing, and I know it's important. And really, it's just been driven by the demand. Like I am seeing this huge shift to families who just really need the support. And essentially, this is a category that doesn't exist. Like we're creating a new
Mm,
category here. That's what we're doing. We want to be the gold standard platform in this category. We are the experts. Um, and so really like that's what we're building and that's what we're doing. And we're moving really fast, but we also have an amazing team. We um, have only human beings who super align with our core values and, all of the things we preach, flexibility and fun and so yeah, it's been fun. It's been a crazy ride from like to answer your question on a personal standpoint, I'm still in disbelief. Like
yeah.
I'm having a hard time fully coming around to that like, wow, the company is so big. And like and it's a lot of pressure too, you know.
Hmm.
It's a lot of pressure because now we're supporting a lot of people and like we're hiring people and we are also supporting families who are hiring. It's like this whole economy. It's so
Hmm.
cool. It's like we're helping families and oftentimes like we talk to so many moms who are like, I'm either going to leave my job or I
Hmm.
need a house manager because I need to run my household or I need my
Hmm.
job. And we're like, hold on, like if you love your job and like you've built your career and you don't want to leave, like we can help. So it's like moms are being able to stay in a job they love, hire someone, a wonderful person and provide a job for that person. We're providing jobs. We're helping them make the match. We're building jobs because like we're making the match. Like it's just such a cool like economy that's happening here.
Hmm.
It's like a support economy. So yeah, it's awesome. It's fun. It's great. I love it. I am very challenged and mostly I have an awesome team. That's what makes all the difference.
Yeah, can I ask you about your own identity evolution? And this was not on my list, so you feel free to be like, absolutely not. But I'm curious what your own identity expansion, if there has been any, has looked like for you as you're talking through all of this. I'm just like, because this, the way that I experience your company, it's a movement. It is also an
Mhm.
economy, 100%, but it is truly a movement. What does that identity expansion looked like for you?
I feel like the identity expansion has, you know, I basically just I've stepped into this, and I've
Yeah.
been able to like fully throw myself into it. And a big reason for that is because we have the support system set up.
Yeah.
I think for me, I always felt like the pull to do something bigger. When I say bigger,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I mean like, I loved my corporate job for a lot of reasons. It was great. It was stable. It was great. But I've always felt this pull to like use these skills that I've had and I've acquired over lots of different eras of my life and be able to use them. And I sort of feel like I'm in a way like stepping into that right now, where like I've
Yeah.
got a lot of tools in my toolbox. Like my background from school was in accounting. I then went from accounting to sales. I got a job in sales. I was then on the operations team. Um, I've worked on so many different facets of business, startup, corporate, and um, and now I just feel like I have this understanding of kind of what it takes to build a business, how to do it. I mean, at Sage House, we're completely bootstrapped. We are profitable, we are cash flow positive, and we are working in our margins. And that's a real point of pride. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is really, really cool. And it's very, very uncommon. So yeah, I think this identity is really just like taking on a leadership role. And I will say that
Yeah.
also like in this leadership role from my team for this movement is a lot of times just coming back to, I think it's super easy when you're in this position to lose sight of like your core values because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people who want something from you, who want to pull you in different directions, who want to convince you to be an affiliate for something that you don't really want to be a part of, but like the money's there, but or there's a family who um doesn't, who's expressing ideas of discrimination on a call, and you're like, you're not the right family for us to work with. And it's hard to walk away from money, from power, from all of these things, but it's such a good exercise in ethics, in
Mm.
core values, and like really staying true to those things. And so I feel like, yeah, I feel like leadership is just like really, it's really all encompassing in that
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah, yeah, in so many different directions as I'm listening to you. The word, this is my own like nerdy, but like regulated, like a regulated nervous system, a
Hmm.
regulated leader, being able to move through every stage of growth. That is so, you can like hear, as I'm listening to you, I hear the through line, right, of the parallel process and where things are so, I would imagine wild because like you've got littles at home and all of the things, right? And it's a business, but regulated and like able to return to baseline, which for anyone who's listening to this, if you do not follow Kelly on Instagram, I highly recommend. Is your handle is it Kelly or is it Sage House?
It's at my Sage House. Yeah. House
Okay,
is spelled
okay.
Haus.
It's like
Yeah.
one of my absolute favorite accounts because on one hand it is here's the systems that we're using and here's some of the ways that our house managers helped us, but then in your stories, I mean, it's pretty consistent, like every weekend, not every weekend, that's probably dramatic, but like you are with your family, you are on adventures, you are going into, you are really living into, as you're saying, like these values that you're preaching and then that you are supporting other people in. As a business owner, as a woman, I just have so much respect for that. I love, it's probably part of why I'm such a fangirl. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So now, okay, usually on my podcast, I'm really big on like, here's a tip, here's a tactical takeaway.
Hmm.
And when I was thinking about the audience and I was thinking about our conversation, what I would love if you would be open to doing this is sharing. Can you walk us through almost like a day in the life of what it is to have a house manager? Because I almost feel as though it's something, at least for myself, I certainly couldn't imagine it until I
Hmm.
had it. And then I was like, whoa. I
Yeah.
would love if you'd be willing
Happy
to like
to.
paint that
Yeah.
picture for us.
Happy to.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So I can tell you some things just from this week, from real life of like a day in the life. So um I, I get up with kids and we get them fed and out the door. 3 days a week, my house manager comes right after our oldest gets on the bus. She drops my little two at preschool. That's about a like 30-minute round trip of like driving them there, getting them out, getting them settled, coming home. She'll then come back and take our dog out for a walk. Sometimes he's been for, but it's always good to have a walk. So he'll get out on a walk with her. She'll like take care of him, like brush his teeth when she gets home from a walk. She'll give him a bath a couple, once a month. Just take really good care of him. And then she'll tidy up all of the spaces in our home. So she'll like reset the couch and the cushions and the blankets and wash dog blankets all the time. And, go upstairs, remake beds. My kids are like disaster sleepers and like they're always missing, like she'll take care of all, she'll throw in a load of laundry. She'll do all of the kids' laundry. She'll do all of our laundry. She'll unload the dishwasher. She'll take out the garbage, the compost. She'll prep food. Today, she's prepping like a chicken curry for dinner for tonight for our family. She's also pre-prepping food for our weekend ahead. So we are, she'll like chop up everything I need to make like a crock pot chili on the weekends when we're up at our ski place. Um, so she'll do a bunch of food prep for us. She'll run a bunch of errands. I think already this week she's filled up the car with gas. Last week she took our car in to get the tires rotated. Will pick up prescriptions for us. She has gone to the post office to mail a bunch of stuff this week for Sage House. We had 9 new people start last week and we wanted to send them a bunch of Sage House swag. So she did that for me. And she helps me like with business tasks too, which is awesome. She's doing some research projects for us right now. Literally, like, I mean, she's
It's
amazing. She
amazing.
does all of the things and keeps our household running. Or, takes care of the Costco orders and the special orders that we have, keeps everything stocked in our home, gets the car washed, cleaned, vacuums car seats, and then she'll be here when my son, like today is early release, so like my kid gets out at 2 p.m. So she'll be at the bus stop at 2:20, and she'll hang out with my son for a couple of hours in the afternoon while I'm wrapping up work.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, hopefully that paints a picture. I mean, I can
Yeah.
keep going.
I was gonna say I can see it. There's like
I can keep
even
going.
more. Oh my gosh. I mean, I like feel my body relax, right? As I am listening to you. It just, I mean, what a dream. And it shows. It shows in the business and in the growth, all of it. I think that what you are doing is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Now, okay, so now talk to me about if someone is listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I need this. Where do you send people? What does first step look like?
Yeah, so two places. One, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to schedule my kickoff call to get started and find my house manager. The best place to go is to join one of those group informational calls that I was talking about. So I host 4 of those a week. They're about 30 minutes. You'll get all the information on working with us, how we do it, how long it takes, like I'll answer questions. So sign up for a group info call. You can find that on our website. There's a little link that says book a call. And then if you're still like not totally there, ready for the info, but you're like, well, I'm really curious if like a house manager's right for me, or like, am I ready for this? We have a free quiz on our website called like, are you ready to hire a house manager? And it'll walk you through, it'll ask you basically like, I think 6 or 8 questions. It takes 2 minutes, and you go in and it'll give you a readiness assessment based on all of the answers to your questions to say like, here's where we think you are on your readiness to hire a house manager. And it will give you next steps on like, based on where you are, what are the best next steps for you. So those are the 2 places I would say to go. And then one more, if you have a nanny right now, a lot of people are like, I have a nanny or an au pair, and like, I'm considering transitioning my nanny to a house manager, or like maybe just once we're out of the nanny phase, like maybe transitioning altogether to like a house manager. We have a guide called How to Transition Your Nanny to a House Manager. You can start there. It's free. It's on our website. Like you can check that out. Sometimes it works and it can happen and your nanny wants to take on more, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes they're like, no, I just want to do the childcare, in which case then you come to us and we help you find the right person.
Mm. Oh my gosh. I love it. I'm laughing because I'm just like, this is such a like, you understand what women need. It is all there. I love it. And I'll grab those links from you. I'll be sure to drop them in the show notes along with Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things. Kelly, I cannot thank you enough for your time, but also like the mission, the work that you are putting into this world is just, it's absolutely incredible. It's changing the narrative for families everywhere. So
Thanks
truly,
for having me,
you.
Britt. I appreciate it. And all of the work that you're doing. The more we have conversations like this, the more we're going to change the culture and change just the way that things are done. And so I applaud you for just having these conversations and getting this out into the world. And I'm grateful that you had me here. So thank you.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Alrighty, y'all. Well, that is all for today's episode, and I will see you on the next one. Alrighty, friend, that is all for today's episode of the Aligned Powerhouse podcast. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And do me a favor, if this episode resonated, I want you to share it with another powerhouse woman in your life who is ready to lead and love from a place of self-trust. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a quick rating or review. It really does help more women find this work. New episodes drop every week. Until then, lead with self-trust and let yourself be seen.